So yes, then.
Yeah.
Good morning. 9 o'clock made us jump this morning.
It's never come on yet.
9 o'clock. Yeah, here we are. So yes, welcome to Friday. If you are watching, please pop a hello in the comments. Oh dear, my voice is going before we've even started today. That's not good. That's better. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Amanda. Good morning, Kerry. Oh, it's failing fast. Good morning, Jane. Today's might have to be done with sign language. Embarrassing.
You can just say, "Can I have a cup of coffee, please?" That's the easy.
Did you like the subtle hint asking for a coffee? Oh, dying here, need coffee. Although the Christmas drinks are out now in the coffee shops. Might have to be trying that this weekend. Good morning, Angela. In chilly but sunny France, pretty much what it is in Hampshire here in England today. Chilly but sunny. Good morning, Janet. Good morning, Hannah. Yeah, first frost's about. Get those plants protected. Good morning, Christine. Good morning, Xenia. What's on your hoodie? It's another Terry Pratchett one. Look, Hex, Ant Hill inside, Pratchett processor. If you've read Pratchett, obviously, you'll know what it's talking about. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Heather. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning, Kerry. Good morning, Emma. Wow. Jane, that cold's hanging about, isn't it? Yeah, the cold's not so bad. It's the throat goes occasionally. It's too much talking, Jane. That's too much talking. Good morning, Andrea. Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Charlie. Oh, Heather, don't call him Sir Pete. You'll give him delusions of grandeur.
Hello, Heather.
Good morning, Naomi. Xenia and Hill inside. Yeah, it's a whole Discworld Terry Pratchett thing. So if it doesn't make any sense to you, go and find a Terry Pratchett Discworld book and read it. That's your challenge. Good morning, Sue from sunny Sunderland. Nice. And good morning, Sue. And good morning, Louise. Emma, how are you feeling now? Is your cold still lingering? It is, actually. It's still hanging about. Bit of cold and throat and coffee thing. But there's no time for coughs and colds. Everything's just too hectic. Good way hectic. So much stuff coming in. Ever since I decided to write the Dragon Magic book, Dragon Energy has been shifting things along at a rate of knots.
Stuff coming in left, right.
Stuff coming in left, right, and centre, which is all good. It's all good. But it doesn't leave a lot of time for not doing anything. Good morning, Lizzie. Maybe Heather's had a sneak preview of Charlie's first honours list. Do you think Charlie Boy's put you on his honours list? You never know.
The old mate Charlie.
Jay says, melon redo from start. Absolutely. And again, if that doesn't mean anything to you, you need to research it. Discworld books. Lovely to see so many people here. Good morning. Welcome to Friday. Good morning, Keith. Yeah, Friday after. I hope your Samhain was all good. Although, period's still going. Still Samhain season. Keep rolling with it. It's still here for a while longer. Although Halloween Eve was torrential rain here. So poor kids probably didn't get an awful lot of trick-or-treating done. Thankfully, mine are too old for trick-or-treating now. So we went out for a curry because, like you do. But there you go. Thank you, Emma. Good morning, Kerry. So, yeah, lots happening in the Rachel Patterson Kitchen Witch camp at the moment. Tons of stuff going on. I'll probably throw Pete completely now by sort of talking about it all, and he'll be
No,
busily trying to
don't.
find all the links. And so, what have we got? We had the Samhain kitchen ritual, online ritual, where we made. I'm going to just steal this off of Pete's computer now. Where we made spiders. If you want to catch the replay of the ritual, it's on the Kitchen Witch Common Facebook page and on the Kitchen Witch YouTube channel. If you are local, tomorrow, Saturday, 5th of November, head on over to the Wandering Witches. Very, very good music and stalls galore. It's Horndean, isn't it, this year? Thank you. There's a link up there. So if you're in the Portsmouth-ish area, head on over to Wandering Witches tomorrow. What else have we got?
Book launch tomorrow.
Oh yeah. See, I should have written it down. Book launch tomorrow.
Oh, look, a link's just appeared.
Look, a witch for every season. I'm doing an online book launch tomorrow. Here in my Facebook page and on my YouTube channel, 7 p.m. UK time. I'm going to be doing a talk about what's in the book.
Giving away.
And I have not one, but 2 copies. 2 signed copies to give away. But you have to be watching the talk. I will give them out randomly to people watching the talk who ask good questions. That actually is published end of November in America, beginning of December in UK.
Push back a little.
Yeah, push back a little bit because I think things are a little bit. So that's that. If you are able to get to London or want to get to London on the 4th of December.
Yeah, Sunday.
Sunday, the 4th of December. I'm running a day workshop on amulets and talismans for the fabulous College of Psychic Studies. And Ness is coming with me. She's going to do a bit of rune magic in there for our amulets and talismans. Witch Fest Feltham on the 19th of November, she says. I'll be doing a talk there, and Ness and Heather will be up. Ness and Sue will be up there with me. It's busy, calm. So we'll be at Witch Fest. I'll be doing a talk there on a witch for every season, actually. There will be a kitchen witch Yule ritual that Ness is plotting, planning and scheming. Going to have a bit of a Norse theme to it this year. And the very, very exciting news, going to announce it here and now, not been put out on social media yet. I have signed another contract for not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Oracle decks. And that contract is signed with a very lovely family-run independent publisher, Animal Dreaming Publishing House. So there will be an announcement made on social media later today with links and things, so you can go and like their social media page and look at their website. But 4 Oracle decks. All with a witchy kind of thing. The publishing house is Animal Dreaming Publishers. Very, very lovely company. The Oracle decks will all be witchy themed. There'll be herbs, there'll be kitchen witchery, there will be spell magic, there will be grimoire stuff. Gotta get writing. Very excited about that. So that's all this stuff in the air, as well as writing Dragon Magic book for Moon Books, editing the next Llewellyn book, which is Candle Magic, and I still have 3 other contracts with Moon Books as well. So you can understand why my brain's a little bit fuddled sometimes. But
sometimes.
So it's all happening. Yes, Jane, the dragon's energy has got all over the place.
You have to put him in the cage for a while.
Can't put the dragon in a cage. So there's
Would you
lots.
like a cup of coffee?
Oh, that would be nice. Thank you. What a surprise.
Anyone else?
Oh, so let's get some of these up. Anyway, right, Christine bought loads and loads of sweets and chocolates for the little munchkins. Oh, and not a soul knocked on the door. It was horrible weather. Me trying to give up eating chocolate, and I have so many chocks. I don't torture myself. You're just going to have to do it. You're just going to have to be brave and eat them all. So looking. Thank you. I really enjoyed writing Witch for Every Season. It was really interesting writing it all and sharing with you how I work with the seasons and the energy of the seasons. Good morning, Maria. Good morning, Christine. Keith's ordered already. Thank you very much. Good morning, Gemma. Lizzie, really looking forward to the book launch. It's going to be a solstice present to me. Oh, love presents to me. That's excellent. Maria says Eric looks cozy. Yeah, he's under his blanket. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, Oracle decks. Whew, that's all very exciting. And book writing and dragons and Sephora. Big high five from Down Under. It's interesting you should mention Down Under, Sephora, because Animal Dreaming Publishing House is based in Australia.
Goes on.
Thank you. Good morning, Marianne. Thank you, Maria. Love your hex top. Yeah, bit of Pratchett. Good morning, Alex. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, lots of exciting stuff going on. Sephora thinks some nice calming lemon balm tea might be in order this morning. No, it's coffee. I only have one coffee a day. Lizzie, Friday mornings are your calm place. Friday mornings are my happy place. Definitely happy. Naomi, wish I had half your stamina. It doesn't always work, Naomi. Trust me, it doesn't always work. I do crash and burn quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Jane wants a salted caramel latte. Nice. I'm looking forward to trying Costa's. I try to use independent coffee shops when I can, but when the Christmas drinks come out, I do like to test them. And Costa's got a Toblerone one this year.
I can get a chocolate.
Emma, I won't have time to breathe. No, I won't. Trudy, good morning. Just caught Oracle cards. Yes, signed up for 4 Oracle decks. It's going to be busy. Sue suggests an Eric Oracle deck. Funnily enough, Pete suggested that. Good morning, Humphrey. Janet is going to need a bigger shelf for all the books and decks. Yeah, me too. Good morning, Vanessa. I can't see who that's, a Facebook user. Let me get up on here because I can't see. Techno stuff. Pages. I'll be with you in a minute. Techno stuff. Some of the names don't show up on my software here, so. And now it's not going to move. Anyway. Had our first deck published, but not so much our cards, but addiction recovery affirmation cards. Interesting. Karen, fantastic doing Oracle decks. I have a book by Animal Dreaming and looking forward to the books as well. The Animal Dreaming Publishing House does have some fantastic books on all sorts of subjects, but they have some really interesting animal spirit decks as well, which are really interesting. Jane.
You just put talk on.
We had what?
What you're saying is coming across the screen.
Is it? That's exciting. It's funny, predictive text, because some of the words it doesn't actually.
It's still coming.
Yeah, no, I didn't touch anything.
Yeah, you have.
Jane, we had lots of trick or treat kids. One kid had hands like Edward Scissorhands. God, that's a blast from the past. Grabbed half the sweeties in one handful and put his hand in again. I said all greedy kids would be turned into toads by morning. Scroll.
Oracle deck.
Willow Moon, really excited about your news. It means I'll be buying myself some gifts. Oh, buying ourselves gifts is always good. Charlie, well done. So excited, witchy themed. There's a lack of witchy Oracle decks. Can't wait to work with your Oracle decks. I like it when the cups look like elves or gingerbread. Me too. I love the Costa Christmas cups, probably more than the coffee. Yeah. Jane says an Oracle deck. Well, we've got enough photos to use, haven't we? Oh, yeah. Vanessa's having gingerbread latte. Very nice. Sephora, if Aussie publisher for deck, we might get it here in New Zealand, hopefully. Kerry bought 3 tubs of sweets and chocolates, and it all went. I had lots of kids and soaking wet parents. Oh, yeah, not nice for them. Not nice for them. Xenia, more oracle cards that would call me out. Yeah. Yes, because I don't just include the good stuff. Oracle cards have to have the darker stuff in too. It's just the way it goes. Anyway.
Lots of requests for Eric's.
Yeah, I can't hear the kettle boiling. What have you done?
I can hear it. Patience, woman, patience.
So anyway, I was having a good morning, Jackie. I was having a conversation with a very lovely student this week. And we were talking about petitions and petition papers and what you do with them and how you get rid of them, how you make the magic work, what you do with them once you've written on them. So I thought today we could talk about petition papers. So I'm assuming most of us use petition papers. How do you use yours? How do you create them? What do you create them on? Does it matter what you write them on? Does it matter what you write them with? And then what do you do with them afterwards? So any thoughts, chuck them in the comments and we will have a bit of a chat. Humphrey, Christmas coffees are often delicious. Had my first mince pie of the year yesterday. I love mince pies. Actually, I love Christmas. I've spoken about it before. I love the whole energy. Yes, I have already been watching Christmas films. That's my way to unwind at this time of the year, is to watch a really cheesy made-for-TV Christmas film. But I do love a mince pie. I love all the Christmas spices. I love the nutmeg and the cinnamon and the clove. And I need a Christmas coffee now. I have to walk around and get one. Jane.
Do you want this one or not?
Yeah, no, that's I'll have a lower standard one, yeah. Jane, my dark RWS tarot deck arrived yesterday. It's so dark I can hardly see it. Sephora. Oh, okay. We've got some people here saying they're not sure on petition papers what they are. Excellent. Not excellent that you don't know, but excellent that we can hopefully share something with you and learn stuff. Brilliant. Kerry, I've got your Flower Magic Oracle deck. Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I have done an Oracle deck. I did the Flower Magic one. But these ones will be all witchy. Willow Moon writes on bay leaves. Is this the same thing? Pretty much. Yes, pretty much. No, what's petition paper? Sorry for asking. Don't apologize. Don't apologize for asking. Hopefully we'll be able to share and enlighten you today. Karen's been watching Christmas films. Yeah. So let's get these up. So Jane, I've started writing my petitions on flash paper. Love the way you light it from a candle, chuck it up in the air and it goes woof and vanishes into a parallel vortex. For those that don't know what flash paper is, it literally does flash. What they put something in when they make the paper, and it does. You light it and it goes and it's gone. Sue nearly bought some mince pies yesterday, but hubby would have said far too early. It's never too early for mince pies. Never too early. Lizzie, I write on my bay leaves from the garden, then burn them. Bay leaves are excellent for it. Naomi, not sure if it's a petition, but I wrote a request to my ancestors on purple paper and rolled it up in a scroll, wrapping it in string, then placed it in a wooden box. That is a petition paper. Absolutely. Oh, it's Jackie. No, Jackie, your name's not showing. It threw me a little bit. It's technology, eh? Christine, I light my fire at Yule and all petitions that are saved in a box then are burnt on the fire. Yes, brilliant idea. So let's explain what petition paper is first then for someone that's unsure. And there's absolutely, you don't have to apologize for not knowing. So a petition paper is, let's grab some bits, what we got here. So it is basically, I tend to use different things. I've got a little notepad here, literally just a notepad of pretty paper. And when I work with a spell, whether it's a candle spell or any type of spell, really, you write your keyword or you write your request. Quite often people write them on bay leaves, because bay leaves are quite big and you can get a word on there and you can burn them. But if you wanted to say, or a sigil, you could draw on there. If you were working a money spell, so you could write, fast money come to me, and you would write it on your piece of paper, and then you can fold it up. Just the last bit on that one. You can fold it up. Now, petition paper, write your petition, write your wish, write your request, write what it is that you need on the paper. Keep it short, keep it succinct. So if you are wanting to bring something to you, you fold the petition paper towards you when you fold it up. If you are writing to release something, thank you very much. There's a cup of coffee. Oh, look at that. Bet there's no mince pies.
Give me the coffee, bloody hell nothing.
If you are writing a petition to release something, then you fold the paper away from you. And then your paper gets put under your candle or lit from the flame of your candle and burnt in your cauldron. And this is what I was talking this week about, what you then do with your petition paper. You can burn it. You can bury it in the ground. You could leave it out in the rain to dissolve. You could put it in water to dissolve. If you've got rolled beeswax candles, you can write your little petition and actually put it inside the rolled candle and roll it back up again. You can fold it and place it under the candle. You could fold it and place it under your pillow. Or if you've got a spell box, and I have got a spell box upstairs, just a wooden box. Mine's got a green man on it. But you write the petition paper, work the spell, and then you put the petition paper in the box. And when the spell's worked, when the energy is done, then you can just throw the petition away or burn them, whatever you want to do with it. If you're working with candle magic, you can write a small petition paper and pin it to the candle. If you're working magic with an oil lamp with a wick, you can pin the petition to the wick of the lamp. So lots of things you could do with it. If you guys do anything else, let me know and we'll get them up in the comments. I use a little pad of paper. You can use Post-it notes. You can use just pieces of printer paper, note paper, letter paper. There is a hoodoo tradition where you take brown paper and you tear it. You don't cut a square of paper, you tear it out and then you write the petition on that. You could use wrapping paper. If your petition is for travel, then you could use an old map and tear a piece of the map off, write your petition on that. If your petition is for money to come in to pay your bills or invoices, credit card bills, you can actually use a bank statement. Tear the bank statement in half or in a quarter, because a whole bank statement is a bit big for a petition. That's a sort of size for a petition paper, I think. You don't really want it any bigger than that. But you could use your bill, a piece of your bill or a piece of your bank statement. If you are writing a petition for love or happiness, you could use the envelope that a birthday or a Valentine card came in. Tear a piece of the envelope off and write your petition on that. If you are working with money spells, again, you could use the receipt from your shopping. If you are working on a healing spell and you've got an old copy of a prescription, you could use the prescription as your petition. So basically, it's the piece of paper that you write your spell, desire, goal, or wish on. That's a petition. Very straightforward. Hannah, do that. Didn't realize it was called a petition paper. It's just what we do, isn't it? Just what we do. Sephora, I'm sure if I can organise a major protest march in my youth for medium barriers to be installed, I will rock a petition paper. Keith, where did you get your top from? The top came from the Discworld Emporium. You can find it online. It is the Discworld Emporium. Nice mug. I think these were just from Amazon, actually. But they are nice, hefty old mugs. Emma, didn't the Egyptians write petitions on paper, roll it up and tie it onto a specific tree? Oh, I don't know. That's interesting. If it was granted, the petition was gone from the tree. I like that idea, although tying things to trees is a little bit of a no-no. But yes, I'm not going to argue with the ancient Egyptians. But excellent. Amanda just typed lots of bizarre letters and I couldn't work out what was going on. Apparently, Amanda's cat says hello. We won't tell Eric. Shh. But he's fast asleep. Xenia, that's what I do. Lit from the flame of a candle and burn in the cauldron, which is really the traditional way or general way. Not traditional, general way. And I quite often do that because I like burning things. So you write your petition. I generally fold it. I usually have a pair of small tongs to hold it so that I burn myself. Light it from the flame of the candle and then drop it in a cauldron. But if you aren't working with fire, if it isn't safe for where you are to work with fire, it was coming up with other options of what to do with that petition paper. Burying in the soil is a good one. And the spell box I do use quite often. Humphrey, I don't know if this would be considered the same, but a couple of days ago, I spoke my intention into a leaf I found on the ground and then let the wind take it. Yes, absolutely, because it's a petition. So you are putting your request into an object, into, the leaf works as the petition paper. So this says it in the word, really, you are petitioning for something to happen. So perfect. Yeah, absolutely perfect. Sue, I want to make some paper with herbs and flower petals embedded in it. Beautiful. I have done that in the past. It's messy, but it works really well. And you can do it fairly easily. And you can put all sorts of things in it. It makes it very nice. And you can put your extra intent into it with the flowers as well. Jane, I use those leather journals with handmade paper. Nice. Sometimes they're nice and brown and raggedy. As my Book of Shadows is cut and paste, I have to remove every fourth page to stop it puffing out. And the spare pages cut or torn up are perfect for spells and petitions. Yes, I think I've got one here, actually. Ugh. She disappears under the desk. Yes, I've got a very nice leather one here. You can see I have taken pages out of it. But it is nice, thick paper. You probably can't see on there. It is nice, thick, handmade paper, basically. And you can literally, if you were to do it, is to tear it, because that's a bit too big to use for a petition, I think, anyway. So I would tear it. There's something about the energy of the torn paper. So I would tear it like that. There is something about that energy. It's not cut. It's not neat and tidy. There is a different kind of energy to a petition paper when you tear it, I think. It's got a kind of raw energy to it. But you can use any type of thing you want, really. It doesn't have to be paper. It can be leaves. They work really well as well. Good morning, Anne. Naomi says, Humphrey, that sounds lovely. Yeah, whispering your wishes into a leaf and letting the wind take it. Brilliant. That's a good idea, Heather. Write on play money. Some of your Monopoly money or your kids' play money. If you're working with a money spell, would be excellent to write on one of those. Kerry, what do you do when burning a petition, the flame goes out halfway? Do you relight it or accept it's not meant to be? I tend to relight it. You have to judge with your intuition, I think. I tend to relight it because sometimes when you've got a folded piece of paper, it doesn't always catch, depending on the type of paper too. You'll find that the rough handmade paper burns more easily. If you're using pages from modern kind of factory produced notebooks, They are harder to burn, and I think it's just the type of paper and the stuff that's in it. So I tend to relight it, just accepting the fact that it's a chemical physics type of reason why it hasn't burned, not that it's not meant to be. So I do tend to relight them, yes. Oh, thank you. There's a link to the Discworld Emporium. They have some amazing stuff in there. I've got quite a lot of their t-shirts as well, and a few of the pictures. Good morning, Leslie. Just about to mention the tearing of paper when you said it. Yeah, I think there is something. It is a hoodoo practice, and they tend to use brown paper, which I do use for petitions as well. There is something quite magical about that raw edge. I don't know what it is, but it is. Lizzie didn't know they were called petition papers either. Actually, in hoodoo, they have name papers as well, which are generally brown paper torn up, and you write the person's name on it. If you're working a binding or a curse or a hex or any of that jazz, you would write a name paper, and you would write the person's name on a slip of paper. Jane says, a message in a bottle is one hell of a petition paper indeed. Hannah, can you tear it up and throw it to the wind, or is this something else? Actually, that's one of the things I thought of when I was looking at other options rather than burning petition papers. I did think you could tear it up. I think particularly if it is something you are releasing or trying to get rid of, if it is money-wise, you know, if you're paying bills, statements, overdrafts, that kind of thing, tearing it up would work quite well, I think. That would add to the energy of it. Good morning, Denise. Never on time for your lives. Love you and many thanks. Oh, you're very welcome. And I have to just say that we have the most people here today that we've ever had before. That dragon magic is really kicking butt. Christine, when I had a teaching group, we used to write messages and tie them to the tree. The wind always blew them into the neighbour's garden and she read them. Stop doing that now. I just burn at you. There is that. If you do put a petition out there in the wilds, if you do leave it on a tree, on a plant, in the woods, wherever you might leave it, there is the danger that someone will find it and read it. But I've done the tree talk before. I know there are it's traditional to tie things to trees, to pin things to trees, to leave offerings at trees. I know you guys wouldn't do it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Don't do it. Even if you are going to leave an offering out in the wilds, make sure it is biodegradable. But have a think about it. Even tying biodegradable twine to tree branches can restrict their growth and can cause them to get infected. If you are leaving offerings out in the wild, say a poem, sing a chant, take some bird food, take some plant food, do something that's not going to damage the environments. But yes, if you are writing things and leaving them out in the wilds, people will read them. Heather says toilet paper and flush it. Yes, writing your petition on a piece of toilet paper and flushing it down the toilet. Yep. I do tend to use, as Heather says, toilet paper. If I'm writing a petition where I want to get rid of something and flush it down the toilet, rather than putting actual paper down there, I do use the toilet paper. You can write on it if you're very careful. Lizzie says, tear it up and flush it down the loo. Yeah, just be mindful again that you are putting paper into the water source, albeit the toilet water source. It still all ends up out there. Angela, if for growth or positive outcomes, I bury my petitions in our compost heap. What a good idea. Excellent idea. Yes. Sephora, torn paper makes me think of pirates. Excellent. Excellent. I do like a bit of pirate. Johnny Depp, Captain Jack. Can't go wrong there. And loves writing on bay leaves and burning them. Bay leaves are brilliant because they are big enough to write a word on. But any leaves, particularly at this time of the year, we talked about leaf and twig magic week before last. You can write petitions on leaves. And as Humphrey said, you can tell your wish to the leaf, and then you don't even have to write it on there. Tell your petition to the leaf and let it blow away in the wind. Angela, don't worry about autocorrect. I did guess that one. Kerry, has anyone written on toilet paper and flushed it? Yep, absolutely. That I do. Hannah, so I can burn, throw to the wind, bury, freeze, whatever goes. Oh, trust your intuition. Absolutely, absolutely. Burn, bury, throw to the wind, flush down the toilet. If it's, just be mindful. Put it in the freezer, for freezer spells, whatever goes. Absolutely. You're writing your desire. You're writing your wish, your request on your piece of paper. And I think then doing something with it sets the magic in action. Whether you burn it, whether you tear it up and throw it to the wind, whether you bury it in the soil, you're bringing in the elements to set that spell in motion, to kind of flick the on switch. But yeah, trust your intuition too, and have a think about if you are wanting something to grow, putting it in the compost or burying it in the soil is a brilliant idea, because you've brought in that extra idea of magic, that extra layer. Sephora, so how do you balance out the asking part? I always feel like you need to be exceptionally polite and ask nicely for all wishes. It is a little bit of a pet thing of mine. Another one. There are so many people at the moment, and I see them all the time, spiritual people offering manifestation classes, offering full moon classes to use the energy of the moon to get what you want, to manifest everything you need, to manifest money, to bring good things into your life. Asking. No one ever thinks or mentions the other side of it. But as witches, we know there are checks and balances. There has to be that other side of it. There will always be a payment of some sort. You will always affect the will of someone else. It is dropping that pebble into the pond and the ripples fall outwards. It will always affect someone else. You're working with energy. There is a balance to it. So when you are asking for something, ask. Don't demand. Ask nicely. Absolutely. Manners are free and they never go amiss. But balance it out. So if you are working a spell asking for something, make sure you do an offering too. And it never hurts occasionally to do a spell for gratitude. It never hurts. In fact, I encourage you to do it, to do a spell every so often with that, for your thanks, just gratitude for what you have. No matter if it is only, if you're struggling, everyone's struggling at some time or another, but there's always something to be thankful for. So just every so often, make sure that you do some gratitude work. But every time you ask for something, remember that there is an opposite to it, that make an offering of some sort, even if it is just feeding the birds in your garden, making an offering so that you are setting that checks and balances. So, but yes, being polite always helps. Lecture over. Willow Moon, read on the internet, oh, dangerous, about someone who was chatting with an old lady in North Wales. She said clooties were tied to a tree using a piece of sheep's wool, which is amply available in fields and caught on bushes. They would collect the wool whenever they found it for that purpose. Natural, very natural thing, sheep's wool. And it's just about being careful. Even things like sheep's wool, if it's tied too tightly around the tree, it will stop it from growing properly. But that's a brilliant idea. Yes, sheep's wool, natural. Xenia, lighter natural paper burns better. Thicker or even coated glossy paper doesn't burn well and stinks. Yes, absolutely, because of the stuff in it. Photo paper smells awful, yes, and isn't good for the environment. Yeah, photo paper doesn't burn very well and it does smell nasty. Yeah, I think the more natural, you can feel it in the paper. the more natural the paper, the better. I think that's probably one of the reasons why in Hoodoo they use brown paper. It's cheap and it's natural and it's not coated in anything fancy and it burns well. So yeah, it's worth thinking about what you're actually writing on and how it's going to burn, or even how it's going to decompose if you are doing something like burying it. Jane, if a spell has to be consigned to moving water, would rice paper be okay? Oh, I used to eat rice paper. Oh, now there's a thing. Write your petition on rice paper and eat it. That would work really, brain swearing. That would work really well for self-confidence and self-esteem type, inner work type spells, to write your petition on rice paper and eat it. Rice paper does dissolve very, very quickly, doesn't it? So yeah, it's just about being mindful that whatever you're putting in water it has to be natural. But yeah, I guess that would be okay. I'm a little bit hesitant to say because I don't like putting anything much in moving water. If I was putting it in moving water in the ocean or in the river, I would probably put my wish into a stone or a shell, tell it. I would tell my wish to the stone or the shell and throw that in the water rather than putting something, for want of a better word, foreign into the water. Lots of flushing it down the loo comments. Yes, absolutely. Write it on your petition on toilet paper and flush it down the toilet. Good morning, Angie. Hope you and Duncan are well. Let's get rid of that one. Emma, I used to burn mine and scatter the ashes to the wind. Excellent. And good morning, Georgie. Yeah, anything flushing down the toilet is good for banishing, good for getting rid of things. Oh, Naomi, now I like your thinking. You could write it on cake. Actually, you could, couldn't you? You could do it on anything that you're going to eat. A little bit of icing on a cake or a cookie. You could even butter your bread and put a word into the butter in your bread and then eat it. That would work very well. I like the cake idea though. I might put one in my mince pie later. Humphrey, if you're trying to banish or remove something, what about tearing it up and down, flushing it down the toilet? Yes, absolutely. But I would, again, I would use toilet paper rather than actual paper. Sue, I have a piece of slate which I write on with chalk. Leave it in the garden for the rain to wash clean. Brilliant idea. There is that idea of the rain. If you write something, even if you write it on a piece of paper and leave it out in the rain, particularly the torrential rain we've had lately, it will dissolve it. It will wash the words away. And eventually the rain will actually eat the paper away as well. But writing on a piece of slate with chalk is brilliant. You can write it on the pavement with chalk as well. That would work really well. You can, if you're at the beach, write the word in the sand and let the ocean come in and out and wash it away. If you are working with water, and I have done this with water spells, if you paint your petition on a piece of paper with watercolor paint, you can put it in the water and the water will dissolve the words, which is quite funky. But you can write, again, you can write with any kind of tool. You can write with chalk. You can write with pens, pencils, Sharpies. Magical ink is a whole other thing as well. I did write about magical ink in the Garden Magic book, I think, and possibly in the Witchcraft into the Wilds as well. I think it's on my Witches and Pagans blog as well. Magical ink is really easy to make from all kinds of vegetable things. Or you can buy coloured ink and add dashes of essential oil to add your magic to it. That adds another layer of magic to it. And actually, if I'm writing a petition, I often colour. I like working with colour magic. So does Eric, apparently. I like working with colour magic. So I'll quite often write the petition in a colour pen that corresponds with the magic that I'm working. So for prosperity, I will quite often write with a green pen or a gold pen. If I am working with protection magic, I'll write it in black. If I'm writing healing magic, I'll write it in blue. Those are the colours that I associate with it. So adding colour magic, and again, coloured paper. You could tie your colour of your paper into your magic as well, depending on what you like, what you associate, what colours you associate. As Sue mentioned, making your own paper, you can add in flowers, leaves, organic things into the paper making process so that the paper has the magic of the herbs or the flowers imbued in it as well. You can add loads and loads of different levels to it depending on what you work with. You can also dab the oil with this, dab the paper with oil, essential oil. Put a dab in each corner before you fold it up. That adds another layer of energy to it as well. If I'm working quite often, I will put a little sprinkle of herbs in as well before I fold the petition up and burn it, adding another layer in as well. Good morning, Melissa from Philadelphia. Wow, you're on. You must have matchsticks to keep your eyes open. Louise, love the slate idea. I write, burn, then scatter ashes in the garden to give a thank you. That's it as well. Of course, if you burn, you've then got ashes. What do you do with the ashes? I tend to throw them on the garden. I let the wind take them, let the soil take them.
What time is it in Philadelphia then?
I don't know what time it is in Philadelphia. Melissa, it must be a mad time over there. Iona, cast out to the wind and let the wind use your words. Brilliant. Keith, I've put my petition by whispering into a pine cone and then thrown it into the fire. Excellent idea. Excellent. Louise, completely agree with giving back and giving thanks. It's just something to remember. We ask for such a lot all the time. You have to remember there is that checks and balances things. Naomi, going to cut up my pumpkin and take it into the wild for the animals as a thank you. Brilliant. I've seen conflicting ideas about that. Putting it out for the foxes. Foxes love it. Apparently it's not good for hedgehogs. So just bear that in mind. Christine, I use gratitude all the time. I even send gratitude to powers that be to get a rare parking space in our town. It always works. Yes, I live on the edge of the city and parking in Air Road is a nightmare. I must admit, I often send up a little prayer for a parking space. But yes, you do have to give the thanks as well. Jane, every night after balancing my chakras, I turn off the moon lamp and go through my list of things to be grateful for that day. I sleep better when things feel balanced. Perfect idea. Sephora, you could use onion skins up for writing your petition on. Excellent idea. I haven't tried that. That would be brilliant. Onion skins. Onions have lots of. My books aren't there. They're in my basket because I took them out with me the other day. Is there a magical food book in the basket, please? Onions. Yeah, they've got, again, if you wrote on any kind of, thank you. Thank you. If you wrote on any kind of vegetable or fruit skin, that would work really well. And again, you're tying in the energy of the actual item. So onions are, believe it or not, yes, this one always throws me. Onions are about passion and fertility. I know it seems a bit strange for onion, doesn't it? But if you're working with those kind of energies, you could write your petition on onion. That would be brilliant. Jane, flying saucers are made with rice paper. Could write little petitions on the flying saucers. If you're not aware of what a flying saucer is, it's an old-fashioned sweet. It's 2 round discs of rice paper stuck together with a bit of sherbet in the middle. Yeah. Flying saucer petitions. I like it. And dissolvable paper is a good thing too. That's rice paper would work easily. Rice paper with a written icing petition on it. Nice. Oh, edible ink. Hi, Tony. Yes, you can get edible ink for decorating cakes and things. Edible ink on bread. See, that's very wholesome. I would think edible ink on cake. Excellent. I like it. Loving these ideas today. Humphrey, if you put an object like a crystal in your offering bowl as an offering after a spell, what do you do with it a few weeks or months down the line when the spell has happened? Okay, so if you're putting a crystal in as offerings, once the spell's worked and it's done its thing, I would cleanse the crystal and put it back in my collection. if you are putting things in your offering bowls, such as herbs, flowers, plant matter, once the spell's energy is done, I would put the herbs, plant matter in the compost bin or on the garden or in the bin if you haven't got any of those places accessible to you. Once it's done, you can do what you like with it. But if it is things that you can compost or get rid of, then I would. But things like crystals, which cost money, just cleanse them and you can reuse them. Heather, eating rice paper for banishing, removing someone's power. Interesting. Would you want to take that into you, though? Although it works its way through, doesn't it? You got your digestive juices eating it all up, and then it comes out. So that would work. Angela, the good thing about Clutie's wool collected is that you don't need to tie it to the tree. Yes, you can just hook it to a twig as it catches easily. That's very true, Angela. Very, very true. That's a good nod there. Xenia, I do journaling regularly and write down the good things that happen during the day, and I'm grateful for them. I think it's just something worth thinking about, isn't it? Willow Moon, how about if you wrote on yourself, then let it wash off in the bath or the shower with shower gel or shampoo? You could do that really easily, couldn't you? Yeah, definitely. Zephora, my favorite would be writing in the sand and waiting for the tide to come in. It works really well. Jane, there's more power than I ever realized in speaking intent into things. Well, absolutely, because your breath is power. Words have power. We use words in spells all the time. Those words have power, and the way those words are spoken is from your breath. So that has power. Speaking it has power. I found this out when we spent about 10 minutes talking to the incense we made at witchery class. I had a really special outcome. I think it's really important to tell your ingredients what you want them to do. You can charge them with energy, and that's your visualization, and that's your energy going into them. But I think particularly things like crystals as well, they need to be told what you want them to do. So using the power of your word makes sense. Total sense. Deb, I'm thinking lemon juice on pieces of nuri sheets. Yeah, that would work too. Or lemon juice, actually, if you've got it in a little squirty bowl, would work really well to write on all kinds of things, wouldn't it? Mandy, I always draw a pentacle with honey in my porridge for protection during that day. Perfect. Love a bit of porridge. Love honey too. Loving all these ideas. Yeah, there's some brilliant ideas here. Zephora, could you write on your door before you paint it with petition protection? About to paint front door purple once I get the right shade. Absolutely. And of course, you don't need to physically write these things or draw these things, particularly on something like a door. You can go around your house and work protection by drawing in the air pentacles on your doorways, on your windows, on any entrances and exits to your house. If you are having problems with the neighbours and you can't physically get hot foot powder or whatever it might be around your boundary completely because you've got an adjoining wall, you can draw symbols and sigils in the air on the wall or just with your finger on the adjoining wall. Jane says, sticky labels are good for banishing spells. Stick it under your shoe and walk it into oblivion, or stick it on a tire to tarmac it to bits. Excellent idea. Brilliant idea. Naomi, didn't know that hedgehogs my fame. Oh, it's just because I've seen some things on social media about pumpkins, leaving them out. And it is a brilliant idea to leave them out for the wild because the foxes and things like them. But I did also see something from the Hedgehog Society saying that pumpkin makes hedgehogs really poorly. So just make sure it's not somewhere where there are big hedgehog communities. Do a little bit of research, Naomi. That's all I think, just to be careful. Sue, I heard on the news that pumpkins are not good for the soil in the forest. I think it's about checking with your local area. I've seen lots of things from the Forestry Commission and things like that who are saying where to leave them, when to leave them, and the best places. So I think it's not about just driving out to a field and dumping your pumpkins. Just do a bit of research for the best place in your area. Xenia, I did that with runes for court case or driving lessons and driving exams successful. Christine, onion skins are good for colouring clothing. Yes, you can get a really nice dye from onion skins, can't you? Xenia, interesting, telling the ingredients their purpose. I looked up resources about hot foot powder the other day, and it's also about telling the hot foot powder what it should do. You've got to give these things instructions. I think it is all very well. Oh, I gather all these things together from a spell and work the spell. You've got to give it some direction. You've got to ask it, tell it where it needs to go. You build up all that energy for your spell working, but it has to have a direction. So you need to give it somewhere to go, and telling your ingredients what they need to do is just kind of makes sense to me, really. Emma, when I'm doing a healing spell, I write it on a piece of paper. Then as I'm folding it, I write the Reiki symbols with each fold. Then I put it in my Reiki healing box. Brilliant. If you work with Reiki, it's absolutely brilliant. There are lots of symbols you can work with for Reiki. You can use Reiki to charge water or any kind of beverage before you drink it. You can use Reiki to charge food before you eat it. And again, Reiki symbols can be drawn around the house as well. Yeah, Lizzie, hedgehogs do get ill from pumpkins. Pop your pumpkins up onto something that is... Oh, that's a good idea. Pop your pumpkins up onto something that is raised and won't fall off. Yes, and then the foxes can get it, but the hedgehogs can't. Good idea. Suzanne, I now live in an apartment and often use word and my finger wand to protect my smaller space. Yes, petitions don't have to be on pieces of paper. You can write them on walls and things, just with your finger, with your yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Keith. Lots of different options. Sephora, if you have access to flax or cabbage tree leaves, you could almost fit a small novel on them, dry them, and they make wonderful fire starters. Well, cabbage leaves give a nice bit of space. What's cabbage? Let's have a look, see what cabbage is. Cabbage has magic too. Cabbage. Cabbage has the magical... Oh, it's moon. It's ruled by the moon. So cabbage is for any kind of moon magic. Also for protection, prosperity, fertility, and love. Lots of... From the humble cabbage leaf. I mean, how magical is that? Magic amazes me all the time. So cabbage leaves, brilliant for writing petitions on. Kerry, what can you give as an offering to the universe when you don't have a garden and or live in a very built up area? I think it is about thinking about what you can give personally. Do you sing? Do you dance? Do you write poetry? Do you tell stories? Those can all be told to the universe or done for the universe. Even in built up areas, I live on the edge of a city, there's quite often a sad and lonely tree or a hedge. You could give an offering of plant food to it. But it's not just about the physical stuff. It's about giving time as well. If you have a little spare cash, even if it's pennies, give to a charity. That's a way of doing an offering. Bringing in your neighbour's dustbins, picking up some litter. And if you live in a built-up area, there's going to be litter, isn't there? It's thinking a little bit about outside the box rather than actual offerings. But if you've got an altar and you're working spell workings, then you can give offerings to the gods, to the divine, to whatever it is you work with, just in the form of herbs or crystals or on your altar. It's just about thinking about where you are and what you can do, but don't think about it just as physical stuff. Singing to the sun, singing to the moon, that's all offerings too. Although it wouldn't be with me because they wouldn't want me to sing. Sephora says cinnamon bark. Yes, right. Well, any kind of bark you can write petitions on. Don't rip bark of trees, obviously, but sometimes you find fallen bits, don't you? Piece of bark makes really nice for writing a petition on. And yeah, the bigger pieces of cassia, cinnamon bark, would work really well. Maria, thought hedgehogs didn't eat pumpkins, small worms and stuff. They'll eat whatever's out there if they're hungry enough, which is why you shouldn't leave. People leave bread and milk out for hedgehogs. That makes them really, really poorly too. They will eat it. Emma, wonder what colours people associate with gratitude. For me, it's a red or orange kind of colour. Yeah, that would work. That would work for me too, Emma. I think it has to be personal. It's what you associate with gratitude. Definitely. Karen plays the flute to the land or water as an offering and feed the birds. Perfect. Lizzie, donate to food banks, donate to charity shops. Yep, any of that. What's the difference between writing a petition and simply talking to, evoking a god spirit through speech? Why choose a petition? Evoking a god or spirit is a completely different thing. You are asking, you're inviting a spirit, a being. But let's focus on writing a petition or talking it. A petition is asking for something. To put a petition out there, you are petitioning someone, universe, divine, whatever it might be, to do something for you. So whether you write it or whether you speak it, pretty much the same. I like to use petitions to write because I like all the added layers you can do with it. Folding the paper in a particular way. The actual paper itself adds energy to it. The color of the ink that I use. The words that I write down seem to be a bit more real to me than speaking it sometimes. It depends what type of spell you're working with. You have to trust your intuition on this and what you've got and what you're using. But I like to write it down because I like to set it in motion. And I like to set it in motion by burning it, burying it, or even putting it in my spell box, particularly if it's a spell that's a big ask and it's going to take a little bit of time to work. Having that actual physical piece of paper or whatever it might be with the writing on is a bit more solid to me, if that makes sense. But you have to trust your intuition. You have to trust your intuition and how you want to work with it and what the spell's for as well. Yes, lots of idea. Humphrey, lighting incense is a nice offering as well. Yeah, that will work. Maria, the energy used to write it adds also. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sephora says 1, 2, 3, Eric fidget time. He's still silent in the minute. But loads of ideas. Petitions use your imagination. Absolutely. And if you think of anything else, do pop them in the Kitchen Witch Coven Facebook group. We'd love to hear all your ideas or see your pictures of what you've used. That would be brilliant. Trust your intuition on what to use, how to use it, and how to get rid of it. But some absolutely brilliant ideas there. So thank you so much for sharing. It's been brilliant today. So absolutely brilliant ideas. Eric's quiet because the postman's late. Hello. Is it time to say goodbye? You're going to say goodbye to people? He's thinking about it. So thank you, everybody, for joining me again today. Sephora, what a shame balloons aren't bad. Oh, yeah, balloons and lanterns. Don't send them up in the sky. Please don't send them up in the sky. Oh, hello. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Have a fantastic week. Hopefully see some of you tomorrow evening at the online book launch. That would be fabulous. Eric says goodbye. Thank you, everyone. Have a fab week. Take care.